we just want to talk to you a little bit today about spiritual and physical intimacy as a couple.
Yeah, the thing about intimacy is it can be wonderful and it can also be really difficult because we want to be close, we want to be intimate with our loved ones, with God, but it can be difficult because it's vulnerable. It's vulnerable and it's hard to do because sometimes you feel like you're getting it, sometimes you feel like you don't, and sometimes you really, really want it and you think you're reaching out to the other person. Maybe you think you're reaching out to God or reaching out to your partner and you don't think you're getting anything back, and that's super hard.
Yeah, sometimes for me, I really have a hard time being vulnerable and like putting myself out there. And so oftentimes in relationships, we'll have an initiator and someone who just is being pursued maybe, and maybe they're more shy or maybe they just don't. There might be different reasons, but like think about that for you as a couple. Are you pursuing your partner? And then are you pursuing, that intimacy? And so we want to not just think physical intimacy, but also spiritual intimacy.
Yeah.
So for us as a couple, like we both, as individuals, we both have followed God, before our relationship, and we had that relationship with God separate from our spouse. But then as a couple, we want to do devotions together and pray together. But we notice that it's way easier to do our own devotions. There's something that's vulnerable and difficult
doing it
about
together.
Coming together to pray together, to read together. There's the accountability part, and sometimes it's just awkward, and we kind of relate it a little bit to the sexual intimacy in a relationship, that sometimes that initiation feels difficult. So for me as a woman, sometimes there's that, like, he's supposed to be the spiritual head, so why am I having to initiate? And then just sometimes we were talking about the other day, just like if I'm on my phone and I'm expecting him to bring up that, hey, we're doing devotions, like I think he knows because I'm doing devotions on my phone that I want to do devotions together, but
it should be obvious.
Yeah, but not really. Like,
not always.
My phone is typically assigned to you that like I'm doing something
You're
other than
busy.
giving you attention.
You're engaged in something else.
Yeah, and so we should be intentional about making plans for that. Sometimes it's making plans for sex. Sometimes it's making plans for spiritual things. Sometimes we have to figure out ways, like, what's the signal? The little black gown is the signal that I want to be intimate. Like, what's that signal that we're going to give each other that we want to be spiritually intimate with one another? Because couples who pray together, who read together, they're more likely to thrive in their relationship. So, what are some things for you that maybe make it difficult to, like, for us to connect spiritually, physically?
I think, like it is for anybody, nobody wants to be rejected. Nobody wants to be rejected. So if I tell you, I'd like to do this, I'd like to do that, I don't want you to tell me no. So it can be this resistance in your mind to say, well, I'm not even going to ask. I'm just going to wait. And then if you're like me, then you've been kind of like, you wait, and then all of a sudden you're not doing anything and you're sitting around, and then it's time to go to bed or time to go on to the next thing, the next agenda item, whatever you have for the day, and you miss those opportunities. So if I had some encouragement, it would be to be vulnerable and ask. And the thing is, I've noticed that whenever we acknowledge there's a distance between the two of us, that often reduces the distance. If it's like, hey, I feel kind of distant from you, I'd like to do this, I'd like to do devotions, I'd like to spend some time with you, then we're more likely to do it. But if you don't say anything, I don't say anything, but we both know it's there, then we're just creating this distance.
Yeah, I think sometimes I'll notice it'll be in the evening and we'll be checking on work or doing stuff on our phone, and I'll notice that I kind of build a little bit of resistance, and that's something you're really good at, that you'll like come and like rub on me or something.
Or take
like,
your phone and throw it across the room.
No, you've never done that. but being able to show me that you want to connect, because sometimes when that resistance is building, I'm like, I guess we're not going to be connected. We're just all working 24/7, and I just kind of get this mental dialogue that says, oh, he just wants to be distant. And so you do a good job of bridging that gap, but sometimes, I think, what if he wasn't bridging this gap? Would we just go to bed and not be connected? Possibly. And so I try to be like you sometimes and try to connect.
That's cool.
Because I know that the tendency for me sometimes is to look to see what you're doing. And so if we both do that, then it could be really bad. So
that's a good point. So let me ask you a question while people are watching this, okay?
Oh, yeah?
I didn't prep you for this. Let me ask you this question. Would you rather that I still pursue you even when you're busy than me not pursue you at all? Would you rather me pursue you and it not go well?
For sure.
Is that still better?
For sure. When have you asked me, like, hey, do you want to spend time with me? And I'm like, throwing my phone at you. No!
I don't think you have, but the thing is, like,
You
there's
worry
still the
that-
resistance,
yeah.
right? Because you reach out and say, well, maybe it's better that I don't even try and I feel rejected. But even if you're busy, even if you have something going on, you would still rather that I pursue you, make a mistake, and I have the bad timing of when I'm pursuing you. I'm not. It's not convenient.
Yeah.
I'm not even being necessarily considerate. You would rather that I try and fail than
Yeah.
not try at all.
And sometimes you ask me the question, you say, how much longer? Because I want to spend time with you. And I think that's a really good way. So
That's probably good.
whatever it is, get connected, stay connected.
See you later.